can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I feel like 100 grand.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Wise.
Dr. Jeremy Wise here, founder of InspiredInsider.com, where I talk with inspirational entrepreneurs and leaders like the founders you've heard of, some you've never heard of. And, you know, Dave, what I like telling is the stories of some of the challenging times. So not, you know, super successful necessarily yet. You know, I remember when I was talking to Tony Horton, you know, who is one of the founders of P90X. And, you know, they've sold hundreds of millions of dollars of DVDs and programs. But I loved hearing the story of when he was making money as a street mime. So he would put his hat on the street and he made his food and rent money from being a street mime. And that was, you know, crazy times for him. And also Nolan Bushnell, who's founder of Atari, you know, he was Steve Jobs' mentor, and Steve offered Nolan 33% of Apple for $50,000, and why he said no. That and many more stories at InspiredInsider.com. Check it out. And, you know, I'm excited to introduce today's guest, Dave Woodward from ClickFunnels. Before I do, just a quick note is this episode is brought to you by Rise 25. And Rise 25, I co-founded with my business partner, John Corcoran. And basically, we help B2B businesses connect to their Dream 100 clients and referral partners and help you run your podcast so it generates ROI. You know, Dave and Russell at ClickFunnels are huge proponents of the Dream 100. You should check out their content, and they talk about it all the time. And, you know, podcasting for me has been the best thing I've done for my business and my life. I've gone to people's weddings, I've gone on family vacations, and I've done a lot of business with people as well. But it was really inspired by something more personal for me. And I consider podcasting also leaving a legacy. Like, I can listen to Dave's podcast, and you know, he creates it 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I can listen to it from years to come. And my grandfather was a Holocaust survivor, and him and his brother were in the concentration camps in Nazi Germany. They were the only members of their family to survive. And, you know, what does this have to do with podcasting? Well, the Holocaust Foundation did an interview with him, and he's not alive anymore, but you can go to InspiredInsider.com, the About page, and actually listen and watch that full hour interview that they did. And I can get a piece of him whenever I want, even though he's not around. And so, yes, podcasting is amazing for your business, but it also helps you and your guests leave a legacy. So if you have questions about podcasting, you actually want to get ROI from it, you can go to rise25.com, or you can email us at support@rise25media.com. And without further ado, I want to introduce today's guest. You know, Dave Woodward, I met at Tony G's dinner at Traffic and Conversion. Amazingly humble, super nice person. And, you know, I guess you call yourself the Chief Revenue Officer. I say you bring in the money. So you're Chief Revenue Officer of ClickFunnels and host of Funnel Hacker Radio podcast. And ClickFunnels, if you haven't heard of it, is a software that lets people design and create sales pages, landing pages, order forms, membership sites seamlessly. And as their website, you know, eloquently says, you can quickly create beautiful sales funnels that convert your visitors into leads and then into customers. And, you know, they have over 100,000 users at this point in time. They've helped people create over 6 million funnels, generating over $4 billion. And this isn't Dave's first rodeo. He's, was president and owner of Monopolized for over 17 years, and he's helped businesses grow in all different industries: insurance, investments, mortgage, real estate, and much more. Dave, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it.
I'm excited to be here. This will be fun.
You know, there's so many. We were chatting before we hit record, and I was like, just stop talking because this is all good. I want to get this on the recording. I wanted to start with, and I thought this is just super smart of you, with the first time you met Russell.
Gosh, that's a long time ago. So again, you mentioned I've had a separate company, Monopolized Inc. It was an agency model where basically we worked with clients. Again, this is like 2008. really early internet days as far as marketers were concerned. And at the time I was doing a lot of direct response marketing. Primary clients at that time were in the financial services, as you mentioned, mortgage companies, financial advisors. And they were trying to find ways of really kind of getting more involved into this whole internet game. I signed up. I'd heard of Russell through a friend. He happened to be coming down to San Diego area where I lived, and he was hosting a seminar. So I thought, I'll go and listen to this internet thing and try to figure this piece out. I had really cut my teeth with Dan Kennedy, and that's what I was going to ask.
Who are some of your favorite direct response people?
Dan Kennedy is where I definitely got my start. And actually, that's where I was first introduced to Russell when he was doing some of the internet stuff for Dan Kennedy after Yannick left. And had the opportunity basically of attending an event he and Stu McLaren put on. It was all about affiliate marketing. And I remember when he stood up, basically, I think Russell was probably 28, 29 at the time. It's been 12, 13 years since then.
He probably looks the same.
He does. Very, very similar. And I remember he basically just stood up there and said, hey, you know what? If you'd like to get to know us a little bit better, if you want to go to the back and just sign up for, take us out to lunch or dinner, you can pick our brain and see what's going on. So I thought I learned a long time ago that I can learn more from other people than I ever will from myself, especially those people who are basically mentors. So I quickly went to the back and I signed up for every breakfast, lunch, and dinner that Russell had for the weekend. And we started a friendship that's grown now into a business partnership. For years, we did a couple of different businesses on the side. We tried different things in the fitness industry, network marketing industry, real estate industry. Some of them worked, some of them didn't. My very first product, Legendary Marketers, was with Russell, kind of doing some of those things. And really, it's become a friendship that we've enjoyed. He came down to San Diego multiple times, and we went, for his 10th anniversary, he and his wife came out, and we sent him through the Southern California and had a fun time with them. And again, it's just been more of a friendship. And when ClickFunnels started, he was kind enough to say, you know what, Dave, you might actually want to get involved in this one. And I'm so glad that I did.
So how did you had your own stuff going on. How did he, I don't know, convince is the right word at that point to go, hey, here's the vision. And he's a masterful, visionary salesperson. If anyone watched a webinar of his, you should watch a webinar. And so I want you to talk about what that conversation was like, but just do a quick plug for where can they watch? I know you have a book, Traffic Secrets. Yeah. Where can they watch a webinar so they should go through your whole funnel to learn from the funnel, in my opinion. I don't care if you're not interested in it at all, which you should be anyways if you have a business. You can go to trafficsecrets.com, I know, for the book. Will they be able to sign up for the webinar there, or how do they get on the webinar?
If you want to go directly to the webinar, go to secretsmasterclass.com. At secretsmasterclass.com, they can register. They can see the actual funnel that we use as a self-liquidating offer.
Yeah.
And also, the idea anytime you're creating a webinar is if you can turn opt-ins into buyers as fast as possible, before they actually get on the webinar, you'll find that your webinar conversions skyrocket. And so that's one of the things we've been playing around with quite a bit.
So secretsmasterclass.com, check it out, sign up for their webinar, consume it, buy their stuff, get into their funnel. I mean, like you said, Dave, honestly, the way you leap ahead is you paid to get in the room. And I've seen no better way of learning from someone is paying for all their stuff.
Oh, I totally agree. No, I don't care who you follow. Again, you mentioned earlier as far as Dream 100, the most important part of Dream 100 is you need to be buying whoever's on your Dream 100, you need to be buying their content, their products. Yeah. So you understand who they are, what they're selling, what they're promoting, and consume them. It's a much easier conversation when you sit down and you talk to someone and say, yeah, I actually remember buying whatever.
Oh my God. I bought, I forgot if I watched the webinar, I bought one of Russell's products. Then I bought the audio version. Then I got the upsell for a micro continuity drive.
Sure. I remember those days.
I went through the whole thing. These guys are some of the smartest marketers around. I will buy all of their stuff. And I'll learn from it, learn from the stuff itself, but learn from the process as well.
Totally agree. The process is as important as the content on the back end.
So we will talk about the launch of Traffic Secrets, what you're doing behind the scenes, what you're doing not behind the scenes. I mean, for all of you, you kind of just share the behind the scenes because that's part of ClickFunnels. You use ClickFunnels, and so you want to share the behind the scenes. It's not just an info, company. It's actually a software company. So, but how did he convince you, Dave?
I had, again, Russell and
what
I
was
had
that
done
conversation like?
We've done a ton of different business things over the years. I've flown up to Boise multiple times, and he's always been trying to get me to move from Southern California to Boise. And I'm like, Russell, that's just not going to happen, my friend. I'm not leaving San Diego.
I looked at your LinkedIn page. I'm like, this had to take some convincing. He's in Boise now. So
yeah, I've lived in San Diego for 20 years. Again, it's raised our family there. It's been a fun experience. It was one of those things. Honestly, I had just come through a crazy financial recovery and had finally gotten back on top. And he said, what, we're thinking about doing this startup. And I'm like, Russell, I love you more than I do my own brothers. But I don't know if I'm ready yet. And so we kind of talked around, toyed around about it. He actually was down at TNC, and was the first time that we're actually it was at Mike Phil Sames event. It was the first time it happened in San Diego. And I remember going there and seeing his pitch from stage for very, again, early ClickFunnels. This is, ClickFunnels really launched September 14th, and this is October 2014. And I remember at that point going, there's something here. There's something here this time. And so basically the invitation was extended right then and there. And I stayed in San Diego for the first 2 years, only because I'm like, I've done enough business to know they don't all work.
You wanted to make
and
sure.
before I uprooted my family, so we stayed there and got ClickFunnels started from the ground up, built it to where it was, and we were at a point with I've got 4 boys, and there's a 2-year gap between my oldest, so 25 and 22, 25, 24, and then 19 and 17, and so. It was that 3-year gap between my 2 and 3. We thought, if we're going to make the change, this would be the year to do it. Otherwise, I'm going to let the kids finish through high school and everything else. And
so were they in high school at the time, or where were they?
So Christian's my 3rd son, 4 boys. And so he just finished his freshman year going into his sophomore year. And I thought, man, this is going to be a tough
conversation to have. We talk about the business side. Even if ClickFunnels is ultra successful, uprooting your family is no joke. Right. And having kids hate you is no joke.
Yeah.
Dave.
No, it was a very difficult. Fortunately, I've got a great relationship with my boys. They're super, super supportive. But it was still tough. There's, again, massive kudos to my wife and my boys making that transition. It was easier for me because I was commuting every other week to Boise at that time. And I was really familiar with what was going on and had established myself from a career standpoint and office situation, but not from a, family, friends, and everything else in the area. And that was tough. That was probably one of the most difficult years my boys had.
What was that conversation like when you brought it up to them, and what did they say when you said, we're moving to Boise, or was it, should we move to Boise? How do you navigate that?
The first harder conversation with my wife, we actually were, I remember, we were skiing, we were going up the lift, and I'm like, sweetie.
She could push you. That's a terrible place to bring that.
I said, what would you think about moving to Boise? And she's like, are you kidding me? No, I just want to see what you think. She goes, I have no interest. We've had our family here 20 years. Why would we do that, Dave? I'm like, because I'm tired of commuting every single week, and I miss you guys. I want to be with you guys.
Yeah.
And so we spent a lot of time thinking about it, praying about it, involved the boys in the decision. And when everyone felt good about it, we pulled the trigger.
Yeah. It's a tough thing to navigate,
Extremely.
So, cause part of that lesson is to really grow a company, you need to attract amazing talent. And even though you were doing your own thing and, going from entrepreneur to intrapreneur, it's tough to attract really good people,
Oh, it is.
So I'm curious. That's why I was curious of how he attracted you.
Oh, well, I know he knew that I wouldn't do it without equity. So that was one of the main things. But at the same time,
You have to give people a
Russell's
stake in the stake.
Yeah, but I think again, kudos to he and Todd. The whole idea behind this has really always been about finding the very best talent and paying them well.
Yeah.
Again, there's 6 partners, myself included, in ClickFunnels, and we've been fortunate that we've been here really from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've all known what it's like when there wasn't money, and when we all had side gigs, basically trying to pay the bills while trying to grow ClickFunnels. So it's one of those things when you're not taking on VC capital and funding, you
got to
really
bootstrap. Yeah.
You bootstrap real hard.
I want to talk about the evolution of your position, and then the evolution of, hold on one second. The evolution of your position, and then the evolution of ClickFunnels in general. So talk about what was ClickFunnels like at the time?
When we first started, it's the great thing is it was all hands on deck. We had, Todd was doing all the development. We brought in Dylan, as also helped with a ton with the UI. Ryan Montgomery came in and helped a lot from a CTO perspective. Russell obviously was the marketing mind behind it. Myself involved heavily in doing whatever. Again, it's an all hands on deck, whatever it's going to take. So myself, John Parks, and Brent Copeters were marketing, traffic, affiliates, whatever it was going to take to grow it. And I think I've been fortunate enough. I've had a lot of partnerships over my life. Some of them work, some of them don't. And you learn very quickly that I would never go into partnership with anybody who hadn't failed at another business in the past. It was just important for me. I think you learn a lot as an entrepreneur when you go through failures and when you have loss.
Yeah.
That's what defines who you really are. It's like, what do you do then? Did you stab your other partners in the back? Did you, it's that kind of stuff where we're all in this thing and we're going to figure this thing out. Or does everyone just flee and run and go do their own thing?
It's like being married. Like, if you having a fight, like you really know each other when you have your first fight and how people react in the fight and after the fight.
Yeah. And we were fortunate that all of us none of us were stupid enough to have large houses and payments and a lot of debt, which helped. So we didn't have to, we didn't need to have a whole bunch of money
to crack.
And so I think that when you're looking at a partnership, understanding what that nut is, that changes people's perspective and it changes their motivation.
So what did ClickFunnels look like at the time? Original concept. And then, I know you said some was built on the back of webinars. So if you talk a little bit about what you were doing at the time.
So the whole idea really came from at the time, Russell had a supplement product that he was working with. Todd Dickerson was helping build a lot of the funnels. They were doing a ton of different funnels. And Todd was like, we keep building the exact same skeleton all the time, but it's taking us, 2 to 3 months to get someone to do the copy, someone to do the graphics, someone to do the design, someone to split it up. It was just, and so he thought there's got to be a simpler, easier way. And it was out of that necessity for their own business that they thought, let's see if I could actually build this. And Todd said, if I was going to build it, Russell, what would you want? And that's where it was just literally, let's get on a whiteboard and let's whiteboard this thing out. What would be the ideal product? And created that product. Then again, as any original creator, you think everybody's going to want this. We're going to have 10,000 customers in 2 days. And when the floodgates opened, there was no water to come through. So when we first started, we had 2 or 3 attempts before we started getting traction. As I alluded to earlier, the real traction came when Russell spoke at Mike Philsame's event in San Diego. It was during that webinar, that stage pitch that we realized, we've got something real here. That was the first time we'd really had enough interest from a table rush standpoint to where Russell, I remember that evening we were sitting there talking about it. He was like, we finally have something. I know exactly what it's going to take to grow and build this thing. And it was the webinar. And so we went out and started literally talking to all the affiliates, anyone we could who had large lists that we could promote it to. And we ended up building ClickFunnels off of the back of a webinar. I remember our homepage basically was a webinar registration page. And it was, my weird niche funnel made $17,937 a day. And basically how you can model it. And so for us, that was really became the primary focus. We learned, Russell had kind of started the idea as far as the perfect webinar. And it was from that became one of the things we ended up modeling and using. The perfect webinar evolved and changed over time, but it really had its genesis back in those days. Russell was doing, gosh, at sometimes 2 and 3 webinars a day. It was exhausting, absolutely exhausting. I remember talking, some of the affiliates, you get all the promises. Oh yeah, I'll have 500 people on the webinar, and 5 show up and 10 show up.
Yes,
like, oh
I've
my
been
gosh.
there. Yeah.
And I still have to, you still have to go through and you got to present as if you have 500 people on. And Russell did an amazing job of just staying focused and perfecting his craft from a webinar's perspective. And that really became the genesis of what later became Expert Secrets and other tools.
So Dave, on the perfect webinar, maybe talk about some components of the perfect webinar, but what was the offer then at the time? Because a big component, one of the big components of a perfect webinar is a really good offer.
It always starts with the offer.
Yeah.
So anytime you're building any webinar, it always starts with your stack slide. For us, what it was at that time was a year's worth of ClickFunnels for free at $9.97. And what they were paying for was training. And so what we learned a long time ago was anytime you can sell something for free, your conversions go through the roof. And so we're always trying to find ways, how can we sell something for free?
I love that. Sell something for free. That should be your next book.
But it really has been. You take a look at all 3 of our book funnels. It's a free plus shipping offer. And our webinar was the same situation where you pay for the training, you pay for the resources, and we'll actually allow you to have the software for free. At the time, it was $9.97 for 12 months, then later turned to $9.97 for 6 months. And then we did $19.97. We were doing live events for a year's worth.
So they were paying for one thing, but getting the software for free.
Exactly.
At the time.
Yep.
Now
it's really hard to sell software by itself. It's just a very, we were looking just to, if you take a look from a metric standpoint, your cost to acquire a customer for a free trial for most software, for us, it was going to be right around $140 to $150. We just couldn't afford that. We're bootstrapped. There's no way in the world. Realizing, the 40% of those people actually convert to a paying customer on day 14. The numbers just weren't there. And so for us, what it allowed us to do is to sell something at $1,000, bring in a bunch of revenue. It helped us grow and scale faster. Profitability was hit the very first year, which really helped us. And that's what allowed us to really build and scale.
Yeah. Yeah. People always think, oh, if I could just have a software company where there's recurring revenue. And I joke around with people, I've talked to enough SaaS founders to be like, I just want to get them a t-shirt that says "Got churn?" ? And because you feel the pain. A lot of businesses, like if it's recurring, it's like there's a pain of churn. People don't realize people churn. You don't just get a customer and they stay forever. They will churn off a platform. So even when you acquire that customer, there's a life cycle. I remember even early on, I don't remember if it was Russell Brunson with his micro-continuity, or one of them says he knew with whatever membership site he had, they churned at 3 months. So he would do something really special at
absolutely.
Month 2, or whatever it is.
I remember actually buying Alex Mendozian's course years ago on stick strategies for that whole purpose, because you're right. You're going to find that most membership sites, it's a 3 to 4 month lifetime. That's just about what it is. And so if a person's paying, $37, it's $100, $120 lifetime value of a client.
Yeah. And
so the main things I'm always looking at is, okay, how much, first of all, can I afford to spend to acquire that customer? And then more importantly, how do I get them to stick one more month? Because that next month can be a 25% increase or 30% increase in your revenue, and another month after that. So stick strategies at, month 2.5 or 3 become really, really important.
Yeah. People don't realize, well, okay, if it's 3 months and you get them to, sometimes you get them to stick past 3 months, that could mean they stick for a year, right? It's not stick to 4 months or 6 months, but you have these milestones, I guess. So Dave, I'd love to hear your favorite stick strategies.
Oh my gosh. Well, I can tell you one of our stick strategies we did very beginning was, go through the onboarding sequence and we'll send you a free t-shirt. And so we had our funnel hacker t-shirt, it's been amazing. I remember talking to our CFO many times. He's like, Dave, do you understand how much those t-shirts are costing us? He says, the shipping and everything else. I'm like, please, Clint, understand those t-shirts. I can't tell you how many times I've ran across people who will basically say, Dave, this t-shirt's cost me over $1,000. I've yet to use ClickFunnels, but I don't cancel my subscription because I got this t-shirt. And so I can tell you some of the best things I've seen from stick strategies are some sort of a physical component. I remember years ago, Dan Kennedy had his No BS newsletter. And what he would end up doing is he would send out a binder, huge, 2.5, 3 inch binder with the first issue, and then little tabs for every single month. So it's really hard as a human being not to finish something.
You're a quitter if you
yeah. And exactly. So I'm going to fill this binder. At least I'm going to fill the first year. And so those little tiny things, again, it was a $37, $97, whatever it was, newsletter, but realize that if you can get someone just to stick and pay, it makes a big difference. I can tell you when it comes to stick strategies, the real thing, you've got to find out what's the pain point why is the person going to leave? And what are the things you can do to add to alleviate that pain to get them to stick one more month? Sometimes it's just reciprocity, where again, a t-shirt's just reciprocity. They feel, gosh, I'm wearing this, and they identify with that cult or that culture of, I'm a funnel hacker, and I know I can't do it right now, but I'm going to do it because the dream is still there. The hope is still there. Yeah. And people they know they want to get to it. It's just, it doesn't fit in right now, time-wise. And so that t-shirt reminds them on a regular basis. I've seen that t-shirt literally around the world now as I've traveled, and it's been fun just to see, how long you've been with ClickFunnels? What have you been doing? How did you find out about it?
It's a great conversation starter. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's been wonderful.
So what else? Favorite stick strategies for ClickFunnels, and then I'd love to hear your favorite stick strategies that you've been a part of. Like you mentioned the Dan Kennedy, you got, that was something that it was used on you. What are your favorite ClickFunnels ones first? There's a t-shirt, any others that are notable?
The t-shirt's been one. We've had a monthly continuity Funnel University newsletter we've mailed out. Again, it comes in a binder. We've got we did the same thing with our 2 Comma Club X coaching program. It's got a binder. Another thing we've done from a stick strategy is each month. One of the main things when you're looking at stick strategy is how can you over deliver? And if it's something like, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah. So one of the things we've used for some of our coaching programs has been send them out a monthly book. And so it's now a book that they're involved in, and it's a great marketing book. And so realize, they're getting everything else with whatever the program is, but now they also have they're getting a free book. And so we sent out for our 2 Comma Club X coaching program the first year, a book every single month, and became a book club where people were now reading the books and they were commenting in the Facebook group about what they were learning. We ended up, other stick strategies, even on the boxes that we send things out, there's typically a call to action. Right now, we just put together Russell's Traffic Secrets box. And so instead of just shipping out a box in a normal, brown mailer, we have a stick strategy on there. It's like, hey, call this number and get a special message from Russell, or scan this QR code and get a special message. Allows them to feel connected with what they just purchased, and it reminds them about why they bought it. I go on and on. I mean, everything we do, I'm trying to find what is the stick strategy. How can we actually churn is the most important thing. And for us, it's how do you actually help someone stick a little longer?
I could listen to you all day, by the way, Dave, on stick strategies. And seriously. And I'd love to hear about, I know people use, ClickFunnels for membership sites. And I'm wondering how, really stick strategies are helping people be more successful with the product, because if they're more successful with the product or service, they will stick. So I see it as a very, like you said, it's over delivering, and it's helping people be successful with implementing what they've purchased. And so I'm wondering what helps people be most successful with creating membership sites on ClickFunnels. But before you answer that, you mentioned over deliver. I want to give a shout out to Brian Kurtz, who wrote a book called Over Deliver. Love Brian.
Brian's a dear friend. Amazing guy.
Amazing. Check out Over Deliver. Everything, Brian basically became quick friends because of a podcast. I had him on afterwards. I'm like, I love you, Brian. How do we hang out? And so
Brian's one of the most genuine people you will ever meet. I've had the opportunity of having him on my podcast, but more important than that, anytime you spend time with Brian, you always come away uplifted. He is a man who has a gift for lifting people. And if you ever get a chance to buy anything from Brian Kurtz, please buy it from him. And then you'll find, again, he's got a ton of stick strategies and stuff he does as well.
Yeah. A genius direct response marketer. So before about the membership sites, Dave, what are some of your favorite books? I mentioned Over Deliver. I don't know if it's ones you've sent out to your 2 Comma Club group. What are some of your favorites?
Honestly, one I'm reading recently, rereading is The Road Less Stupid by Keith Cunningham.
Okay.
Great book. There's so many of them. I can tell you, geez, I go on and on.
Pull a couple off the shelf. Yeah.
Great Leads is an awesome one. If you're not familiar with Great Leads, Michael Masterson does an awesome job in Great Leads. I loved High Growth Handbook from Developing and Growing Businesses. John Maxwell's stuff on leadership right now. It goes on and on. There's, one of the, let's see if it's up there. For us, one of the things we're always looking at, what are the things we can do to scale and grow a company? And so I'm paying attention to that kind of stuff quite a bit these days. Crossing the Chasm has been one. A lot of it just kind of depends on what I need to fall or whatever problem I'm trying to solve right now is what I'm into.
What have you found are recommendations? I know like Reid Hoffman has a book on that as well, I think.
Recommendations for what specifically?
For, you were saying, scaling and growing the company. So
High Growth Handbook is a great one. Again, it's put out by Stripe, and it's actually goes through and really identifies. They talk to quite a few different founders and how they've actually grown and scaled their companies. So High Growth Handbook is awesome. Again, I mentioned The Road Less Stupid by Keith Cunningham. Keith Cunningham is kind of the original Rich Dad. Kiyosaki basically met with and spent time with him. He has a 4-day MBA program. It's a great program. A man who is a master teacher. He does a great job of building companies, but he sucks at marketing and he hates that part of it. And it's always been fun for me. I've talked to Keith as I attended his 4-day MBA, and he's like, Dave, I just wish I had your guys' ability to market. He goes, I can grow and scale any company once it gets going, but the startup phase is not his favorite.
It's tough.
It is.
Startup phase totally is no joke, Dave. Yeah. I mean, so thanks for sharing that. I have a couple Audible credits, so I want to know what I should be buying. And
man,
I love hearing your recommendations.
I'll go real fast through Audible here because that's where I consume a ton of content.
Yeah.
I'll see what some of this stuff. It's been fascinating as I take a look at some of the things. The Hard Thing About Hard Things is when I was again. That's Ben Horowitz's program.
Yeah.
But
anything that starts off with like a rap quote is a good book. I think that one starts.
There's just kind of depends on which. Actually, Double Your Profits by Bob Pfeiffer is one. It's a fast read, fast to listen to. It is cutthroat. So if you're not willing to, again, for this whole COVID thing, coronavirus type of deal, that's probably one of it's like 78 things you can do to double your profits. And they're not always that friendly.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Oh, yeah. The Ride of a Lifetime I just listened to, that was Bob Iger's story about Disney and his thing there. Phil Knight's story, Shoe Dog, was great.
Oh, that's one of my favorites of all time for sure.
Just awesome. I go on it. My gosh.
Yeah, no, I love it. Thank you. Yeah. I love to hear what people are reading because it just gives an insight into what we should be doing. And so talk about membership sites. So people who have membership sites or don't obviously can use ClickFunnels. If you didn't know, you can use ClickFunnels to power your membership site, right? And so what are some great ways you've seen people use membership sites and ClickFunnels, and maybe some of the ways that they were successful?
Oh man. For us, I think some of the great things about membership sites, it's, if nothing else, it's a place to contain a lot of content. And unfortunately for a lot of people, they'll just send out, they send them videos and they send them PDFs and they send them different resources, but there's not a place where they can go to get it all in one place. And so if you find yourself, dripping things out or even from a drip campaign, a membership site works a ton better, where you can continue to drive them right back to it. I've seen people use free membership sites just for that reason, just to contain all the content, because now a person feels like they're connecting with you on a much more frequent basis. You made mention earlier as far as micro continuity, which was the idea of having a membership that was a limited period of time. Russell's micro continuity program back, I think it was 2011 or 12 or something like that. It was a long time ago. Yeah. But again, the whole idea was people don't want to feel like they're stuck in something for a long and never ending piece. And so micro continuity was, you know what, this is a 4 or a 6 month membership platform, and you're going to get it done in that period of time. Another one I can tell you right now, we've seen great success with, and that's a challenge, a 30-day challenge or something like that. Our One Funnel Away challenge works the same way, where you do have it. It's in a membership site. It's a 30-day challenge. You go right through it, and in 30 days it's done. But you have the opportunity of going back to it. And it's been interesting. We've had people rebuy the program just for the opportunity of going through it. And so you have the membership side, and then you have the live component as far as the teaching. And if they want the ongoing continuity, or the membership side there, that's 30 days. But if you want to continue to participate with the group, you then sign up again to go through the new group. And so there's so many different ways. I think the problem for a lot of people with membership sites, they feel like there's only a certain few things they can do. Membership sites are huge. Stu McLaren, dear friend of mine, actually has a launch going on right now for his tribe, which teaches people about memberships. And I think the whole idea, if you understand what you're really trying to do, is create a community through your membership. And that in and of itself will help grow and scale your business. Lady Boss, Brandon and Kayleen Poulin did an amazing job of having a monthly membership site. And things they would add to that each month were things like adding in recipes, adding in fitness workouts, adding in different pieces. So people stuck because they knew that there was something new coming every single month. And they go in and they could see all the old stuff, but they wanted the newest, latest, greatest. And that was one of their stick strategies, having new content put in there. So you can do the evergreen content, you can do new content. A lot of it just depends on how much content you want to create.
You know, Dave, obviously ClickFunnels, there's many people using it now. Who were you just super excited to hear, like a notable person that's like, wow, ClickFunnels has made it. Like, these people are using ClickFunnels.
Oh my gosh.
Because no matter how big you are, when you have certain people using the platform, there's a certain sense of pride in what you've created, right? Who was that for you?
I'm so bad. I'm not starstruck by people, and I wish I was. It's fun for me to see different people. Gosh, you know what? I spent time on the phone with Damon John and Shark, their whole Shark thing. And so Damon's company runs off, a lot of their products run off of ClickFunnels. And so that's fun. But honestly, for me, I can tell you the thing that I enjoy more than anything else are the people no one knows about, who then become part of our 2 Comma Club award winners. And so, you know, Gabe Schillinger, a guy who basically sells beats, which is just music riffs and all of a sudden he sells, you know, he's basically just been there behind the scenes creating a whole bunch of soundtracks and beats that are, you know, he's got a huge long list of a celebrity type of people who have used his beats in their music, and he's now taught other people how to do it. And so here's a guy who basically is usually what you would never think about, has now been able to hit, you know, over $1 million inside of his sales funnels. Now is on to his second one. It's people like that. Those are the people I get most excited about.
Who sticks out to you as some of your favorite? Because some of them are really heart-wrenching stories also, right? And you've powered them, their dream, and of allowing them to, I guess, a freedom. Does anyone stick out to you on that is especially?
Oh man, put me on the spot as far as.
I mean, I remember, Dave, just let you think about that for a second. I remember one of my favorite shows is The Prophet with Marcus Lemonis, and I remember seeing a scene where Russell comes on, he's showing, you know, one of the businesses using ClickFunnels, and I thought that was a really cool. That must have been a cool moment, also.
That was fun. So we had Marcus Lemonis at Funnel Hacking Live 2. And Marcus, if those guys don't know, he's like one of the most humble guys you'll ever meet. He shows up in an Uber and just walks in. I was like, what? I mean, I'm used to people coming in. I mean, like Tony we've had, he's got bodyguards and everything else. And it's like this huge entourage. And he literally just walks in and just, I'm like, Marcus, I'm so sorry we weren't there to meet you. And he's like, oh, no, this is no big deal. And so we sat down. We first walked him into the event room. And, I think at that time we had, 1,200, 1,500 people there. He's like, these people are like crazy and they're here for software. He says, what do you guys really do? And so we had the opportunity of sitting down with Marcus beforehand and kind of getting him up to speed on what ClickFunnels does. And then afterwards it was like, so what you're telling me is if people really understood sales funnel, every single business could use a sales funnel. And like, exactly. And so after that is when I remember talking with Russell and Todd and the rest of the team and saying, gosh, wouldn't it be cool if someday Marcus actually wanted to use our software? And it was about 8 months later where we got a call and Marcus was like, hey, what would you think about helping me with Flex watches? And so Russell and I flew out to Southern California and basically sat down with Marcus and the team at Flex Watches and they filmed that episode.
That's amazing. Yeah. And you've had many, what time of year do you always have at the same time of year for the Funnel Hacking Conference for people to check out, and where should they go to learn more about like future dates?
So it's funnelhackinglive.com, and we typically have it in the first quarter of the year. So we get everyone kicking things off the right way. We might have to change it this next year just due to coronavirus type of things.
Yeah. But
usually it's sometime between January and March.
Got it. Yeah. So check out funnelhackinglive.com. Check out their conference. If you haven't seen the videos from it, I mean, it's still stuck in my head, Dave, about the song ClickFunnels. You know what I'm talking about, right? And that is stuck in my head. So I
it's kind of fun when you have when friends create rap songs about your program. It's kind of fun.
Yeah. So check
huge shout out to Chris Record, Sunny D, the ClickFunnels rap.
Yes, and check it out on where. I mean, I think you can check it out on YouTube, but
YouTube probably easy.
Check out ClickFunnels rap. You have to watch it. It's hilarious. It's great. Yeah, it's fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about you're launching a book, okay, trafficsecrets.com, and walk people through some of the pre-work and then where they should go, and then a little bit about the funnel.
The pre-work was 2 years of Russell's bleeding blood, sweat, and tears to get it created. Again, Russell has become an amazing author and writer. It's been fun for me. I've been with him through the process of each of the 3 books. He ended up writing Traffic Secrets, and then afterwards went back and rewrote .com Secrets and Expert Secrets, adding 30,000 words to each one of them. He's literally become a masterful writer. And it's been fun just to see the birthing process of this, the amount of research that he goes into to really understand the story. And really, there are very few people, I don't know if anyone has become a better storyteller than Russell has these days. And he just does a great, great job of telling stories. And that was one of the things when he went back to rewrite .com Secrets and Expert Secrets, was to make sure that every single principle had a story tied to it. That's the whole idea. One of the things Russell's taught a ton recently, and that is for people to really understand what you're doing and to buy into it, they have to understand how you either learned it or earned it. And if you can't tell the story about how you've learned or earned what it is that you're trying to provide to these people, they don't have that perceived value. And so by telling the story beforehand, as far as how you've learned something or you've earned something, it actually increases the value of what you're about ready to offer them. And not only does it increase the value, it then also increases the importance for you to consume what you're about ready to receive. And so it's you want to talk about stick strategies, make sure anytime you're going to sell something beforehand, you've told them a story as far as how you learned or earned that. And I mean, it's the point now where literally at every one of our marketing meetings or anything else, before he's about ready to say what he wants to do next, it's, let me tell you how I learned or earned this. And he doesn't preface it that way, but that's exactly what's about ready to take place.
Mm-hmm. And so, they could check it out at trafficsecrets.com. Walk me through some of the psychology of the funnel, I guess.
Yeah.
And obviously you create it with ClickFunnels, so they can check out how the software works too. Walk me through the funnel a little bit.
Again, as I mentioned earlier, one of the things Russell loves to do is sell things for free. So it's a free plus shipping offer. I think our free plus shipping offer, our 2-step order form, has probably been copied by more people than any, at least especially in the Tripwire physical books, anything like that. It's literally become, if you want to sell something, that's the way to do it. The idea behind it, if you go to the page, you're going to find at the top is going to be a video telling a story about, again, how he learned or earned the content that's in Traffic Secrets. After that is a ton of actual hard copy, long sales form type of copy you would expect to see from a direct response marketing standpoint. And then there's a 2-step order form where they're entering their name, their email address. And then the next page is where they actually enter in mailing address and credit card information. That allows us to get the information up front so we can continue to market them on an ongoing basis. From there, in the past, so years ago, some of your audience might remember, if you went to GoDaddy, you were in this never-ending trail of upsells. I mean, you wanted to go buy a domain and it'd take you a half hour to get through to the checkout because, do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this? And as we've done a bunch of funnels, one of the things we've learned is people can handle up to about 2. 2 OTOs is about the most that a person can really, before they start getting frustrated. And the last thing you want is someone buying your product being frustrated at the end of the buying process. Yeah. So one of the things we've added is what we refer to as an order form bump on the credit card page. And it's a real simple thing. It literally is probably no more than 5, 6, 7 lines of copy. So it's got to be something simple. The whole idea behind it, though, is, so take, for example, on the Traffic Secrets book, it's free plus shipping, $9.95, $9.97 for the book, $19.97 if you wanted to international shipping. You then go to the order form bump, and the order form bump is, do you want the audio version? And
I buy that 100% of the time, always.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's a $37 upsell. What it does, though, because we're always looking at how can I want to make sure that my average cart value, the idea here is if my cost to acquire a customer is the same as my average cart value or less, if I can get a break-even funnel, I'm in the money because I know my value ladder on the upside is going to be huge.
It's huge, yeah.
I'm really just trying to acquire customers for as low cost as possible. So the idea for us was trying to find a way that you could increase your average cart value. Most of our book funnels, typically, our average cart value ranges between $32 and $38.
Yeah. I'm just seeing how much money I'm going to be spending once I go through this funnel, Dave. So go on.
So our average cart value on the Traffic Secrets book actually ended in the 55 to 65 range. So more than doubled. And it was because of what I'm going to talk to you about right now. And what we ended up doing, so we had the order form bump for the audio version. And then we added actually a second order form bump. We've never done that before. It's the first time we've ever done it. And the second order form bump was for $97. And this was for a 2-day training that Russell had done about Traffic Secrets. So anytime Russell's ever written a book, what he actually ends up doing is teaching the concepts first. And so this is that live training in a recording that you have access to. So it's $9.95 for the book, $37 for the order form bump for the audio book, and then $97, which is a product we've sold for over, originally $3,000 for 10 and then $300 for recordings. From there, it then went to the first OTO. The first OTO was, or it still is our box set. So the box set is all 4 of the books. So it's .com secrets, expert secrets, traffic secrets. And then we wrote a 4th book. And the only way you get that 4th book is in the box set. And that's called Unlock the Secrets. And what it does is it basically walks you through how to use all 3 books at the same time. And so it's basically a study guide for the 3 books. And so we ended up selling that for $97. And we'd never done this before, where we actually added an order form bump on the OTO page. And so we added an order form bump for people to join our One Funnel Away Challenge, if they wanted to join that, at $97. And then we added another order form bump that we've split tested a couple of times, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But that was awesome for us. We then went to the second OTO, and on the second OTO we went out and good friend of mine, Mikhail, runs a company called Funnelytics. And the idea behind Funnelytics is it actually helps you draw out your funnel, map it out, and then to actually track it. And so there's code where it would track up to 100,000 customers or 500,000 visitors. And so we ended up having, you could buy that product for either $397 or $497. So $397 was for 100,000 unique visitors, and $497 was for 500,000 unique visitors. And so by having order bumps on OTO pages, it actually increased our cart value, and fortunately was a very positive experience for all of our buyers, because they really only felt like they were seeing 2 OTOs, even though they were really approached with 6.
Mm. And so what point do people say, okay, I should just get ClickFunnels in this process?
So on the thank you page is where we actually introduce ClickFunnels to them. Okay. So as soon as they get to the thank you page, they then
like if you don't know already, which they should.
A lot of them don't. It's the cold
really?
Traffic.
Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are coming in for traffic. They don't know that much about ClickFunnels. The great thing for us with Traffic Secrets, it's probably the most evergreen and most green pasture for us to farm, because there's so many people who are dying to learn traffic these days. Mm-hmm. And the book is, fortunately, the book wasn't written. It has evergreen content, so it'll be around for the next 30, 40, 50, 100 years, a legacy book that for anybody who ever wants to use traffic from here on.
Mm-hmm. Dave, I want to be the first one to thank you. This is fantastic. You know, I want to respect your time, but I could listen to you for 2 hours, talk about, go deep in any of these topics. I want to point people towards trafficsecrets.com, obviously, clickfunnels.com, obviously, for the software that powers all of this, secretsmasterclass.com to check out their webinar, and funnelhackinglive.com for their amazing events. What else did I miss? Where else should we point people towards?
I think that's it'll be interesting as you guys go through Secrets Masterclass. You'll actually see us implementing a lot of things we just talked about, where Secrets Masterclass is a webinar, and usually on most webinars you sign up and then you go to register. You then go from the registration page straight to the thank you page. We actually have a pop-up that allows them to. We're trying to find out more. So, what are the 3 different things are you struggling with? Are you struggling with your funnel? Are you struggling with conversion? Are you struggling with traffic? And then when they click on that, it then takes them to a video of Russell talking about whatever one of those 3 things were, and then gives them the opportunity to buy one of the 3 books: .com Secrets for building your funnel, Expert Secrets for conversion, and Traffic Secrets for traffic, obviously. The whole idea behind that is it's allowed us to get a self-liquidating offer in place at the very beginning, where we can now spend more because we're getting sales before people actually get to the webinar. And one of the things we found is anytime someone buys something from you, their likelihood of actually showing up and attending the webinar skyrockets. And then the other thing is they already bought one product. The hardest thing for anybody in internet marketing is getting that first dollar online. Once you've got that first dollar, you now have trust. And for us, it's been amazing to see when they actually sign up and they attend the webinar. Those people who bought the book, the multiple as far as people who actually end up buying the offer at the end is skyrockets.
Yeah. One of my favorite first dollar stories of all time is Stu McLaren's. You probably know the story really well. You could check out on Inspired Insider. He tells that story of how he made his first dollar online. I'm not going to ruin the punchline, but you should listen to that because it's really amazing. Dave, thank you. Everyone check out clickfunnels.com. Check it out. Use it. Get it. Implement it. Dave, thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks so much.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the